Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. I want to thank everyone for coming and investing in yourself in this session, Speak Like a Pro, at 4 o'clock. And I hope at the end of this session, I will provide you some tools that are valuable and practical that you can not become a professional speaker, but communicate value and influence to your clients. Will that be valuable to you? Okay. I do have a question for everyone. As I speak, I'd like to move around. And I'd like to move around and ask questions. And I don't want to just give a speech, but rather I'd like to have a discussion or a dialogue with everyone who is willing and courageous enough to participate. Will you help me if I ask you a question? Will you yell out the answer with me or to me? Yes? Who said that? Okay, thank you so much. And you can come a little bit closer. And I'm going to move from the stage. Can you hear me now? Okay, because I don't want to be stuck behind the lectern. This is Speak Like a Pro. And a lot of times when we speak, we forget about body language. Do you think about body language when you speak? You do? Okay, what do you think about? Your wife. It's excellent. We'll talk about that later in the show, in the presentation, how to get yourself ready for the session. Okay. A lot of times when we prepare a presentation, we think about our content. We think about the words, the ideas, the strategies. But a lot of times we don't think about our body language and how do we show up when we enter the room or in front of the audience. And I will talk about it specifically. This presentation is divided in 3 parts. I will talk about preparation, content, and my favorite part, delivery. And we'll spend about 15 to 20 minutes on each. But before we go further, I want to ask a question. How many people here speak continuously in front of clients and give presentations? Okay, so about 50%? Okay. Yes, continuously, maybe once a week. Once a month. Once a year. Once a decade. I'll just go with it. A lot. What do you think is your what do you feel is your biggest challenge when you speak in front of public? The what? Keeping it interesting? Okay, what else? Keeping their attention. Grabbing and keeping their attention, correct? And maintaining it with energy level throughout the rest of the presentation. Is that correct? Communicating with the audience. Okay. What else? What other challenges do you have?
Getting their involvement.
Huh?
Getting their involvement.
Getting involvement?
Getting their involvement.
Getting their involvement. Okay, somebody said an accent? Okay. Do you notice that I have an accent?
Yes.
Yes? No. Yes. Thank you. This is an excellent group. I do have an accent. It is true. I am an immigrant. I gotta come clean. Oh. Thank you. 20 years ago, from Soviet Union, Russia. But I love this country, and here I am. As an accent, you have to work harder to make sure that you are heard. But a lot of times, when you slow down your pace of speech, your audience will get more involved. Slow is fast. You have to slow down, and people will pay attention to you. A lot of times when we get up to speak, we have millions of thoughts and ideas and everything going on through our head. And a lot of times in real time, we think a lot faster than the audience can reflect and anticipate. But when you take the time to pause after important points and just speak slowly, people will tune into you much faster. And they will listen to you a lot better. Does that make sense? Okay. Thank you for that. So let's keep going. How many people here are afraid of public speaking? Terrified? Hell, thank you for your honesty. How do you deal with fear of public speaking? Be prepared. Be over-prepared. Know it cold. It takes a lot of RAM. It takes a lot of memory to talk on stage. Public speaking is hard. And to do it well is even harder. When you get on stage, it's hard to keep your fingers out of your ears and scratch yourself. You have to communicate with the audience in the way that they get it. Fear of public speaking will never go away. I do believe in muscle memory. When you get on stage, after you have exposure and you spoke hundreds, thousands times, you will get over and you speak better. Muscle memory. But I also believe that no matter how much preparation you have, does things happen on stage or right before the stage? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. I will tell you a story. A couple years ago, I spoke in front of a church group. Church group in my town. I'm from Winter Haven, Florida. I don't know if anyone from that area, Lakeland, Winter Haven. Welcome. It was 7 o'clock Wednesday. My speech was about 15 minutes. And I was sitting in the audience. There was worship, there were songs, and everyone was waiting for me to come up. And as I expected to come on stage and perform this, I thought, extraordinary speech, I was anxious and nervous. Do you ever get anxious and nervous before a speech? Does your, yes? Okay, what happens to your body? Do you shake? Do you have tremors? You trying to pass out? Huh? Knee shake? Okay, anything else? Sweat? Okay. Your mouth gets dry. Yes, that does happen. You know this as a speaker. Prepare. But I think I got you beat. When I was sitting in that church, waiting to go on in just a few minutes, my lips began to break out in blisters. That's how nervous. Did I get you beat? But, as a professional speaker, you just go with it. I took out my notepad and my pen and I wrote down, Mark, next time, bring the lip balm. The lips, like the thing that you put in your lips, boom, ready. So you have to over-prepare before every presentation. Let's say you're prepared and everything goes well, but things still happen, right? Like maybe mic does not work or your slides do not work. Last month, I spoke in Melbourne in front of the Chamber of Commerce, in front of 200 executives. It was a morning engagement. I brought my products and everything, and as I set my table, I reached into my bag and I was looking for a little glass bowl that my mom brought with me from Russia, from the old country. What I didn't realize, the glass bowl broke. I know I was going to be in trouble with my mom. As I reached into my bag, I pulled it out and I cut my finger. And I was bleeding profusely 30 minutes before my keynote speech. I had the CEO of the Chamber of Commerce turn red as he saw the blood going on my suit, on my tie, on my pants. I turned black. Everything turned red in my eyes. What do you do then? Play with it, yes? Go, leave? Keep going? Okay. Have anything like this ever happened to you? It has? Okay. What do? You just go with it. How many people here have taken improv classes? Okay. Improv, your whole life is improv. You improvise everywhere you go. And I had to improvise. In improv, one of the teachers, one of my instructors said, do not be perfect. Be present. Be present for the audience. Audience want speaker to succeed and disappointed when the speaker fails. So if you are there for the audience will lift you up. Does that make sense? Okay. I believe all public speaking is an energy exchange. Do you believe that? Yes? Okay. There it is. You can quote me on that. Public speaking is an energy exchange, just as like the slide said. I believe when we take a stage, when we speak in front of the audience, speaker becomes what? The what?
Entertainer.
Focal point. I would like to go a little further. Every time you take a stage, you become naked. Stay with me for just a moment. And I don't want you to think about me like that. But every time you take a stage, you become vulnerable. You become vulnerable and people can see right through you. Do you enjoy speakers or let me ask a better question. Do we have time for anyone who is not authentic when they speak? Do we have time for anyone to be fake? Yes? Can we see through someone if they are being disingenuous or inauthentic? Yes? Okay. So what's the solution as speakers? What is the solution as communicators? Be authentic. Be yourself. Every time we take a stage, we take a risk. Every time somebody will see through us, they will see who we are, and they will see what we think about. And I say, take that risk. Take that risk every time. Because the only way to protect yourself is not to protect yourself. That's the only way. The key that I have found in public speaking that I have learned is connection. Connection with your audience in the best way that you can. And it comes through being authentic. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. Very good. How many people here have a conversation with the audience? Okay. Why does it matter? Do you give speeches or do you give conversations? Sometimes both. Okay. Depends on the audience. Depending on the size of the audience as well. Sometimes we only have 10 people, sometimes we have 100 people, sometimes we have 1,000 people or 10,000 people. And it's difficult. It's difficult to maintain your energy level. I say, have a conversation. Don't give a speech. Have a conversation with one person in a conversational tone. Do you feel that I'm having a conversation with you right now? Yes. Sort of? Kind of? A little bit? Okay, some of you are dubious. That's okay. Have a conversation. Don't give a speech. So like I said, we're going to have 3 parts to this presentation. Preparation, content, and delivery. How much time do you spend before you give a speech? Honesty. Let's talk about honesty because remember, we're becoming vulnerable. A lot. What is a lot?
5 hours.
Huh? As much as you can, okay? Like, let's be specific. Specific. Okay, so if your presentation is an hour, you spend 6 hours? Okay, all right. What else? Huh?
Depends on the topic.
Depends on the topic. It's something that you know, something you speak about, you go with it, right? Okay. 2 days of thinking, 2 days right. I hope everyone writes this down because it does help. The better you prepare, the better you present. The more time you spend in preparation, the better you will come out on stage. I say spend at least 1 hour for every 5 minutes of your presentation. The longer you speak, the better you become. I will talk about advanced storytelling techniques, how you can use storytelling to spice up your presentations. And a lot of times the storytelling, the more time you spend on a speech, the shorter it becomes. Because I believe in the economy of words. If you can say less, if you can say more with less words, you become a champion in your audience's mind. And you can win them over. Does that make sense? Preparation is key. It's a start. It's a foundation. So let me ask you a question. Are you ready to give your presentation tomorrow, whatever it is? Honestly. No?
Always.
Okay, so what are you waiting for? Are you going to prepare?
Always ready.
You have to prepare. I cannot stress this enough. How many people speak in front of their loved ones or their friends to test out their speech? Okay, all right. How many people here practice in front of a mirror? Okay, a few of you? Okay. I'd just like to say, do not. Do not practice your speech in front of the mirror. Why? Because you get distracted by yourself. I know you're very good looking and handsome and beautiful. Do not look at yourself as you prepare for the presentation. Speak in front of tough audiences. Toughest audience is your best teacher. And if you really want to ramp up your game, speak about the stories and what you're passionate about in front of kids. How many people have spoken in front of children? Okay. How do you feel? Tough audience. Okay. Intimidated. Because kids, they don't have a lot of masks. They tell you exactly how they feel. And to win them over elevates your position as a speaker. Speak in front of tough audience. If you have a story that you have to present, speak to everyone. Go to a bar. Go to a library. When I competed in a contest for Toastmasters International 2 years ago, huge contest, Central North Florida, 4,000 members, 200 clubs. I practiced my speech over 100 times in 1 month, maybe more. I went to jails, I went to hospitals, I went to schools, I went to libraries, and I told my story to everyone. But not that I say, okay, can I tell you a story? I like to share something with you, because you want to get people's guards down, and you just practice your story. The more feedback you get, the better you become. Does that make sense? Or do you have any questions? Or something I'm missing? Please tell me, because I want to make sure that I provide the best material for you. Is everything? Huh? Yes. He's excellent. Dale Carnegie said, any man's story, if told simply and unadorned, is the most entertaining. You don't have to be sensational, just have to be sincere. And if it comes from the place of your heart and sincerity, you will connect. I did not, but I do recommend. Okay, so on the content, how many people here have heard about success principles in public speaking? Comes from Dan and Chip Heath. Few people? Okay. When you create your story, when you create your message, I would like to offer you a possibility, something to think about. Do not have more than one message in your presentation. You can have many stories, many anecdotes that point to your one message. If you have 1, 2, 3, 4 messages, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 speeches. One message per each speech. Confused mind says no. Clear mind says go. When you create too much load in the people's audiences, we tune out. We tune out and we cannot process it. So simple. And I like to quote Bruce Lee here. Simplicity is the key to brilliance. Less is more. This is how you become memorable. I also like to offer you this concept of foundational phrase. When you create your next presentation, think about one phrase, 10 words or less, that weaves throughout the entire presentation that you can write on the back of the business card. Your foundational phrase will determine what stays in your speech. Anything that's not relevant, not related, not practical, you take it out. You have to be super focused on every speech that you make. Does that make sense? Am I going too fast? I just want to show some of you are a little bit puzzled. And I want to make sure that I get the good feedback from everyone. Okay, so, I'm sorry? I'm going simple. Thank you. Unexpected. How many of you break the pattern when you speak? Okay, some of you. What am I doing right now? Am I breaking the pattern? Hello? Walking into the audience. Okay, I'm going to be like a preacher now. Work in the audience. No. This is not what you signed up for. Unexpected. Can everyone hear me? Yes. Can you see me? Yes. Okay, that's fine. Take a photograph or take some later. Unexpected. Break the pattern. Our brain craves novelty. If you can break the pattern, you become memorable. If you can create curiosity in the minds of the audience, you become memorable. Don't just tell me the same speech over and over and over again. Break the pattern. Break the pattern. That works really well in comedy, and it also works for public speaking. Does that make sense? Yeah. Break the pattern. See? Is it working? Oh, there you go. What's happening here? Is this breaking the pattern from the egg? Something visual, something interesting? Break the pattern and keep going until you get it right. Or at least in your mind, in the mind of the audience. Concrete. How many people here attended Bob's speech at 1:30? Was that a great presentation? He did excellent, right? Excellent. Many things he did well. Humor, credibility, he connected well to the audience. I was taking notes in the back of the room. What is this number? 36,811. Emails that he got over a period of what, 7, 8 years? 36,811. Specificity builds credibility. If you're not specific enough, you lose your credibility. 36,811. Do we know if it's right? We hope so, right? But you have to be credible. 39.2 million. What is that? Visitors to his site. Is that concrete? Specific? Use that in your presentations. Don't be afraid. What do you see here on this slide? Huh? Contrast. Tactile. Can you feel the baby? Can you feel the other hand? When you craft your presentations, go for visual, kinesthetic, and auditory. And being concrete helps you bring your audience into your scenes and into your stories. Be specific. Be concrete. Be credible. As a speaker, you paint a story. You're an artist. You take the brush, you touch the canvas, and you let the audience paint the picture in their own minds. But it all comes with preparation. It's a process, and you eliminate details that don't move your story forward. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Am I going too fast?
No.
Okay. Oh, what do you see here? What? Beauty. What else? I don't know who she is, but I got her. Huh? Confidence. What I see is her smile. This enigmatic smile that is concrete. And I just like this slide. That's why I put it in. It's a little break for you. Credible. How credible are you in your presentations? Is it talking about your accomplishments, what you have done? Use that every time that you can. Mother Teresa. Is she credible? Huh? Okay. Are you credible when you speak? I'm not looking at you, are you credible? Yes? Okay. How can you be more credible? What are some ideas that you have? How do you be more credible in your speeches?
Be convincing to other people that you are.
Act as if. Talk, walk, and look like a person of credibility. And you become one. It's as simple as that. That's how it worked for me, so that's why I'm speaking. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Emotional. Do you talk about emotions in your stories and your presentations? Do you take the risks? Yes or no?
Yes.
You do? Okay. The only way that we can move anyone, anywhere, to do anything, or have any chance, is to move them emotionally. How many people have seen this movie? What is it? Where is it from? Titanic. If the Titanic did not sink, would that make it for a good movie? No? Yes? I heard some. Maybe you. Yes? Was the movie emotional? I say take a risk. Talk about emotions in your not in your movies, in your stories, in your presentations, because this is how you connect. We're looking about the connection. And finally, have stories. A lot of times we discount and we devalue what we bring to the table. A lot of times we think that our stories do not matter. And I have heard from someone when we started this is that how do you keep people engaged? Is with the stories. A story well told will reach deep into the subconscious and make us memorable. One of the questions that you can ponder and think about, what do I want people to think, feel, and do differently 3 days after the presentation? And the only way to do that is to craft better stories. And you can do that with dialogue, with scenes, and moving the story forward. With all the things that I have said. Unexpected, simple, concrete, credible, emotional, in a story. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. This is the motto that I have. It's from the storytelling. When you create a story, think about characters, circumstance. Every good story must have a conflict. If you do not have a conflict, what do you have? You have an anecdote. You have to have a conflict every time. It doesn't have to be a big conflict, But what I like to do in my profession is I like to escalate conflict. Not being too melodramatic. I told you I'm an immigrant, and in Russia I have to be melodramatic, but that's what it is. Then you offer the cure, change, and this is in your slides, so you can have that, and you can contact me if you have any other questions for this. But before you do anything, you have to create curiosity. Why should we listen to you? One of the best ways to create curiosity is with questions. One of the best questions that I have seen in my practice is, have you ever? Have you ever? It's one of the most powerful questions that I have found. Then you show change, carry out, and call back. See here in the bottom we have conversations and dialogue. A lot of times when we talk about what's happening in the scene, we narrate. We don't have a dialogue, we narrate. For example, we say, and I went here, and then I did this, and then I called her because she is such a good person. I say do it like this. Pick up the phone and say, Dave, you're such a good person, tell me something. Does that make sense? You shorten your dialogue and you inject it into the scene. The reason for that is you can move your story forward. Narration in every kind of storytelling slows down your speaking. Dialogue ramps it up. Does that make sense? Can you do that or no? Yes? With practice, you can. And maybe with buddies as well. This quote comes from Maya Angelou. There's no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside of you. Do you have a story to tell to your clients? Will you risk to say it? Will you risk to tell it? Are you hiding from telling your story? Something to think about. Tell me a fact and I'll learn. Tell me a truth and I'll believe. But tell me a story and it will live in my heart forever. How many people have kids? How many times have your kids come up to you at night and said, Mommy, Daddy, can you show me a PowerPoint presentation? Tell me a story, and I'll remember. Delivery. This is my absolute favorite part to talk about. Do we forget about breathing when we speak? Yes? Have you seen speakers when they hyperventilate from the stage? And you can tell that they shallow breath from right here. What I invite you to do is breathe from your belly. You can, go ahead, you can breathe right now if you want. You don't have to look at me, but not only will it help you to relax, but it also will add richness and resonance to your voice. If you focus on breathing 5 weeks, 5 months, 5 days before your presentation, you will command the stage. Simple as that. And do deep breathing through your nose, through your mouth. Would you like to do one with me? Is that okay? I know it's the end of the day, so we'll just breathe together, and then you can tell me about it, how it went. So let's do this exercise. Breathe through your nose, 4 counts. Let's hold the breath for 4, and exhale for as long as we can, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever we do. Okay, so breathe in, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No? Okay, it didn't work. Try this as often as you can. What is your ritual before you give a speech? Do you just get more nervous? Do you breathe? Do you call your loved one? Do you get some tea? Do you go to the bathroom? Which you must. You have to go to the bathroom before you go on stage. It's very must. What do you think about? What is the 5 minutes before you take the stage? Do you have a ritual like I do?
I have a glass of water.
Glass of water? Okay. What else?
Listen to music.
What?
Listen to music.
I love that. That's what I do. Do you dance? Do you jump around? Do you do jumping jacks? Push-ups. Who does push-ups? Congratulations. You're ahead of me. I listen to the songs. I listen every time I speak. You have to have a mindset, and you have to be very strategic what you do before you take the stage. What do you do next day? What do you do 5 hours before? What do you take 5 days before? A lot of times I turn off my phone. I don't want any distractions. I just want to focus on the audience. You have to have a strategy for every time before you take the stage. Music, if that's what helps you. Prayer. I have a coach. I'll admit it. I have many coaches. One of my coaches that I have hired is a breathing coach. Sometimes when I can take her with me on speaking engagements, and we travel together, we sit in a room before I go take a stage. She is a hypnotist as well. And she's a doctor, PhD. And she takes me to the breathing exercises, and she's my coach. Think about your pre-speaking ritual every time you take a stage. Does that make sense? Okay. Breathe, and remind yourself that this very moment is the only one you know you have for sure. Oprah Winfrey. Thank you. Presence. Do you have a powerful presence when you take the stage? In your own estimation. Have you been told? What is presence? Let's go a little bit deeper. What is presence?
Being in the moment.
I'm sorry?
Being in the moment.
Being in the moment, being present. Okay, what else?
Being memorable.
In control. Control of yourself, control of the situation. That's all you can control, okay?
Projection.
Huh?
Projection.
Projection?
Knowledge.
Knowledge, okay. Are you present when you show up on stage? Huh?
Yep.
Okay. Walt Whitman said, "We persuade with our presence." Do you know when you saw my name and when you saw me being introduced, before when Jennifer did such a lovely job introducing me, did you form judgments about me before I took the stage? Yes? Yeah, of course. Do we judge people in a matter of seconds? Okay. Are you okay with that? Can't change it, right? You can't change it. You got to be in the present moment, and people will judge you. One of the best ways I can find, like I said, you become vulnerable. You become on stage, you become exposed, and people can see right through you. And there's no way that you can mimic anything else. And what I'd like to offer you is breathing exercises, focus exercises, so you can be present on stage. This is something I have developed, how to find presence. And this is a system of 3 O's. And it's, before you enter any room or any speaking engagement, think about what is your objective. What do you want the outcome out of this presentation to be? Do you want this presentation to go forward, stay the same, or go backwards? Think about the objective. Open. Are you open to have a dialogue or a monologue when you go on stage or when you speak with someone? Do you know that in the United States, on average, we only listen for 17 seconds? 17 seconds. In a conversation. Possibly. Possibly. Thank you. 17 seconds. When we talk to someone, do we have a dialogue, true dialogue, or a monologue? Speaking is the same. And those 17 seconds, this is the research that came from Chicago, based on Gary Chapman. 17 seconds, we don't listen so we can repeat back what we just heard. It is so we can get back into the conversation and keep on talking. Are you guilty of that? Yes? Okay. Well, now you know. Now you can work on it and possibly become better. And you will.
That's why my wife interrupts you.
I am not qualified. I'm not qualified to talk about marital relationships because I've been prohibited. It's a different stage. We can talk afterwards. Finally, what is your off-stage presence? How many people here go to theater? I've seen actors. When an actor an actress, takes the stage, and you can tell. You can tell that they have thought about an emotion or a feeling before they brought it to the stage. Maybe it's jealousy, anger, joy, happiness. And can you take your eyes off of them when they think about the emotion? No? You can't? They become charismatic. What I'd like to ask you is think about one emotion. What do you want to bring into every conversation, into every time you take the stage, and focus on that? How many people here video record themselves speaking? Who is brave one? I'm the only one? Okay, I see a brave one over there in the back. Okay. Why don't you record yourself? I want to ask a question. Huh?
Because I was looking at the mirror.
You looking at the mirror? Okay. We're honest. We have to be honest. What stops you from video recording yourself every time you give a presentation or in your preparation? You don't have a resource, or you don't have a camera, or you don't have time, or what is one thing that's stopping you?
Don't want to see it.
Huh?
Self-criticism.
Self-criticism? That's a tough one. That's the truth. I'll be honest with you. I am recording every time I'm speaking in front of the audience. And I'll be honest with you, it's torture to watch myself afterwards. But you must. Key to an effective public speaking, a lot of it is self-awareness. How do you know how do you show up when you speak to the audience? And guess what? Everyone has to watch you. Why can't you watch yourself? Invest in camera, watch yourself, and your level of speaking will elevate to a different magnitude. You must invest in videos and videoing yourself every time. Body gestures. Do you think about body gestures when you speak? Okay. What do you think about? Tell me. Hands. What else? Eyebrows.
Eyes.
Huh? Eye contact, face, hands, elbows. Huh? Posture. Okay.
Change of position.
Do you think about at a certain point in my speech or a certain point in my presentation, I must use this gesture? Do you ever think about, oh, how do you approach gestures? Because speaking, I'll be honest with you. Every time we have a conversation or we give a speech, we don't have one conversation. We have two conversations. Content is one, and body language is another. And every time there's incongruency, guess what people believe? Body language. And if you don't think about your body language, your message will become incongruent every time. And you have to invest in yourself, recording yourself, and think about it. One of the best ways I have found in my practice is when you're thinking about your gestures, you become robotic. You become limited. I say outsource all of your gestures to your subconscious. Your subconscious already knows the way, and it will find the right gestures at the right moment, at the right place. Does that make sense? The more you think about it, the more rigid you will act. The less you think about it, the more free you become. Does that make sense? We also know that complex thinkers have complex gestures. If you have rigorous, analytical mind, your gestures will show up. Let them. Let them do it every time, and you will find congruency in your message. Does that make sense? Okay. How many people here have heard about power posing? Okay. Can we do a power pose?
Yes.
Can we do one?
Yes.
Okay. Do you mind standing up? Or do you want to sit? Okay, if you do not want to stand up, it's okay. You can just sit down and look at me or look at your neighbor. It's okay, whatever you want. One of the things that we can do is look at this power pose, and we'll do the stand up later. Let's do a quick inventory of your own body language. What do you see here with my friends here on the slide?
Uncomfortable and bored.
Huh?
Uncomfortable and bored.
Uncomfortable, bored. Okay. Are any of you like that right now? Uncomfortable, bored? I just want to think. Okay. Doing the best that I can. Okay. How about here? On the left? This gentleman right here on the left. This guy? He's expanding. This is the posture of confidence for man. He's expanding. And this guy as well. Let's take a quick inventory. Let's stop looking at the slide. Look at yourself. Or you can look at your neighbor too as you want. And let's do a quick inventory. How do you sit in your chair? Huh? Are you making yourself expansive or do you shrink down? I see some of you are expanded really well. Good. Take an inventory. How do you show up? Are you shrinking yourself down or are you expanding? How about this posture right here? How about this lady right here? What is she doing?
Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman, yes! The greatest movie of all time. 2017. Let's do a quick exercise. And if you do not want to do it, that's fine. I invite to do power posing every time you give a presentation. Every time you have to step up. And you have to, you want to do it?
Sure.
Okay. You want to stand up?
Sure.
Or do you want to do it from your chair? Whatever you like. When you stand up, okay, let's do stand up. Let's do stand up. Okay. Let's do the, okay, everyone can see me, everyone can hear me. Choose one of the two positions. V for victory, Superman. V, commit. Commit to the pose. Or, what is this? Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman, you know what? Be proud. That's right, be proud. Stand the pose. And look at your neighbors. Say, yes, I got this. I got this. What is happening? Okay, what is happening? Okay, Superman, okay. Commit for another 10, 15 seconds. Commit. Commit to the pose. What's happening in your body, your testosterone is going up. It does. Your cortisol, your stress hormone, see, I'm kind of having it, you know, I'm committing to the pose. You have to commit. Your cortisol going down, and you're becoming better. You're becoming your boldest self to face every challenge. Okay, you can sit down. Thank you so much. All right, you're the overachiever. That's good. I like that as well. If you do this power posing before presentations or high-stakes situations, you will become charismatic. You will become focused and present. John Kennedy said, if we are strong, our strength will speak for itself. If we are weak, words will be of no help. I believe your body language changes your mind. Your mind changes your behavior, and your behavior changes your outcome. And it starts with the body. How many people here have heard or know what is charisma? Let's just go there before we finish up here. Charisma. What is charisma?
Swagger.
Huh?
Swagger.
Swagger? Thank you. Thank you. Ability to connect, okay? What else? Huh? Confidence. The what?
Attraction.
Leadership. Okay.
Charming.
Charming. Engaging. You know this. You know this. I'd like to offer you another definition. Charisma is focused emotion. What are you focused on right now? Are you focused about your dinner plans? Yes? Honest. Awesome. What are you focused on right now? Do you have a million things going on in your head? Pay the mortgage, go to see a dentist, make a phone call to a loved one, check up on someone? What do you think about? Focused emotion is charismatic. If you want to own the stage, take the stage anytime, anywhere, in front of anyone, focused emotion. What are you bringing to the stage? Focus on that emotion, and then you go in. That's how you can own the stage and speak like a pro. Thank you so much. I will.